Hi guys, welcome back. Jeremy here. We're gonna be starting a new drawing together, and this drawing is going to contain some of the things that I'm looking for in the final drawing. This is for those of you that are taking my class. As you can see, I've already started a little bit of work here. Those of you that are in the class have already received a handout which lists the requirements that I'm looking for. So we're going to do this drawing together, and this drawing is actually going to take the next 3 classes. So this project here is going to be a 3-part series. So without further ado, I want to get started. The last time we talked, we were talking about dimension styles and layers. Right now, we basically have 3 dimension styles. And you can tell what we have in any drawing by clicking on this tab and then looking for this guy here, and it's listing our dimension styles. If you're not sure where to go, just hover over and it should tell you what that is. So right now we have three dimension styles in this drawing. We're going to stick with woodwork because we're going to be drawing just a basic dresser. This is a new drawing that I've started from a template. What I did is I opened the template, then I did a save as, and I created a new drawing. And I renamed it basically. Week 11, creating a new drawing. And by default, we have 3 tabs here on the bottom. This is our model space. This is what we're currently working in. And then by default, you're given sheet 1 and sheet 2. What I would like you to do is to rename these 2 tabs. To do that, you just move your mouse so you're pointing on the sheet tab, and then right click, and we're going to rename it. And let's just rename it sheet 1. And then we're going to click on this sheet 2, and we're going to rename that as well. And what you do is you backspace. Let's call this sheet 1B. I prefer to use capitals. Okay, let's go back to sheet 1. Now what we need to do is set up our plotting. Go to the Print Configuration Manager. And as you can see, by default, we're already in a 24 by 36 landscape orientation PDF. So that's what we want. So let's get out of here. Both of our sheets are PDFs. This is a size D sheet, by the way. Excuse me. This is basically a default viewport. So let's just get rid of that. I'll get rid of both of these. Alright, let's begin our drawing here. Like I said, we're basically going to be building a dresser. So the first step in doing so is just draw the basic outside shape of the dresser. Whenever we're drawing geometry, I prefer to be in 0. Okay, let's start with drawing a line. Let's make our dresser 50 inches tall. And then we're going to go 30 inches wide. Okay. And we're going to want a toe kick or a recessed area in the front that's held back so you don't stub your toe on the thing. We're going to make that area 4 inches high. So we're going to take this bottom line here and copy it. Make sure your ortho's on. Click anywhere and move your mouse up, and we're actually making a copy of that line. And then type a unit of 4 and then hit escape. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the thickness of the side of the cabinet down here. I just drew a line over another existing line. Now we're going to move this new line. So I'm just going to highlight it. And then I'm going to type M, return, move. Make sure ortho's on. Click anywhere. And then type 0.75, which is 3/4 of an inch. And then I'm going to want to show this line also on the other side. We could draw another line and then move it, or we could just simply mirror this line. Make sure your E-snap's on. And I want to click on the middle of this line. See how my cursor is gravitating towards the center. Click. And then click on the bottom line, and click, and we just mirrored this. By the way, if yours isn't doing that, we need to set that up. I believe the best way to do that is to hover your mouse over this button and then right click, settings. These are your different E-snap options. You can select them all, but the problem is your snap is going to drive you crazy if you're doing a lot of drawing. So what I usually do is I just select a snap that I plan on using most often, which are basically endpoints, midpoints, the center of a circle, nodes. I'm not really sure what that is, so I'm going to deselect that. I'm going to deselect insert. I do like to be able to snap onto an intersection, perpendicular, and tangent. So I'm okay with that. We'll get to close out of there. Okay, so now we just drew a copy of what I drew earlier. I'm going to go ahead and erase that. Okay, so we basically have an outline of our dresser. I'm going to go ahead and put a dimension on it. Oops, wrong layer. Highlight it. Make sure you're in the Home tab. Go to your layer bar and select Dim. Escape. There, now my dimension's green. If I'm going to be doing some dimensioning, probably wouldn't hurt to shift to the dimension layer. Remember, this bar here is showing us our current layer state, which means that anything that we create from this point on will be on this layer. Let's add a couple more dimensions. And remember, as I always say, save and save often. Okay. Now, a dresser is not a dresser without drawers. So we don't have any drawers here. So let's make some drawers. Best way to do that is to draw a line and click from the end here. Oops, sorry, we're not dimensioning anymore. Let's go back into zero layer. First we're going to do is draw a line that matches this bottom one. Or we can also copy it. Either way works. Let's go ahead and copy that line. Let's create an 8-inch door front. Let's copy another one. Here and here. Now we got 2 doors. Let's add another one. So now we got 3 bottom drawers that are equal in size. I think the next drawer should be a little bit smaller. So I'm going to copy it. Let's make this one 6 inches. One more. Alright, let's measure how much space we have left. We have 10 inches left. Perfect. Let's make a couple 5-inch high drawers. Perfect. Now we got this dresser with a bunch of drawers in it. Let's make things a little bit interesting. Instead of having 2 5-inch high drawers that are the same width as the dresser, let's make 4 equal size drawers. So I'm going to create a line. Oops, wrong layer. You could change it in a couple different ways. I could click on it and then move it to the 0 layer, or I can use the properties painter there. Now we got lots of storage here. Let's add some more dimension. By the way, before I forget, notice how this button here is showing this icon. That's a linear dimension. If I hover over it with my mouse, it'll give you a description. On your screen, you may be seeing a different type of dimension. You might be seeing one that looks like that. And that's called a smart dimension. Let me show you how that works. Instead of clicking on 2 points to create the dimension, you just click on the line. It only works on straight linear dimension. And you wouldn't be able to use it in this case. Just doesn't work out that way. So we're going to go back to our linear dimension. Remember, save and save often. So now we have a professional looking drawing in the works already. One of the requirements for your final project is your CAD drawing needs to have a model space and 2 paper spaces. And they need to be set up in a PDF, in a size D PDF format. Remember, you can set that up by right-clicking, Print Configuration Manager, you select your PDF, now I know that this plot style is already active or current. I know that because it's not asking me to save anything or assign to. This is the current default PDF that's built into DraftSight. So we're good to go there. Also, in your final drawing project, on your paper space, I'm going to want to see some type of border. So to make a border, easiest way to do that is to draw a rectangle. Notice that this rectangle is going to be on the dim lighter. That's okay, we can fix that. So you just start at the top left and go down to the bottom right. Click and then click and you're done. Let's change this to the 0 layer. Click on the line and then move it to the 0 layer. Hit escape. Let's go to our B1B and let's do the same thing. Make another border. Start at the top left. Make sure your E-snap is turned off. The reason I had you turn off the E-snap is that when you're up here starting your rectangle, the E-snap's going to gravitate to this corner here. This is the limiting bounds of this sheet. So anything that's drawn on or outside of this box will not show up on the sheet when you print it. This is the reason why I have this border here. Notice these borders may not necessarily be the same size. So we like a little uniformity in our drawings. I'm going to go ahead and delete this border. I'm going to show you a little trick here. We're going to go ahead and copy this and paste it onto our sheet 1. I'm going to hit Control C. Select my border, hit return. Let's return to sheet 1. I'm going to hit Control V. Make sure E-snap is turned off. I'll just plant my border right here. There. Now we have 2 sheets set up. Let's go back to the model. So right now we have a front elevation of a dresser. And we've got some dimensions on here. Let's create a viewport real quick. And we're going to put that on sheet 1. Alright. Here's how we create a viewport. Click on the View tab on the top. Select your view tiles. Always read the instructions on the bottom. It's asking you for a start corner. Let's start here. And I'm going to go to the bottom right. I don't want this elevation taking up the whole sheet. I think roughly half of the sheet will be sufficient. We don't need to be precise with this because this viewport box will not even be visible when we print the sheet. So click anywhere. Okay, now our dresser that we drew in model space is now visible in paper space. There's two things you need to know about this viewport box that we just drew. Let's go back home. The viewport box is drawn on the 0 layer. What that means to us is that when we print this sheet, this viewport box will be printed. And that's all well and good. We may want this printed, but what if we didn't? Well, we can move it to a layer that doesn't print. Let's move it to the depth points layer. You'll notice this box is still the same color because by default, the depth points layer is the same color as the 0 layer. And again, you might want this viewport box to print, but if you didn't, there's a way to make sure that it doesn't print. And I believe on the depth point layer, anything that's created on this layer will not print. What I mean by that is this box will not print, but your viewport will. Let's see if we can check that out. Let's go to the viewport manager. I'm sorry, the layer manager. And let's check this out. And I believe I've showed you this before. Our depth points layer, which is what our viewport is on. See here on this column where it says print, and the printer icon is crossed off. What that tells us is anything that's created in this layer will not print. But again, I need you to understand that this box is not going to print, but the image within the viewport will. Now let's see what kind of scale we have here. Let's see what scale we can print it at. Let's see how big it is in this scale. You notice that the image here automatically resizes. If I click on the viewport window, it should show you what scale that image is. Alright, pretty snazzy. And I could resize my viewport window by clicking on the viewport lines, and by grabbing onto these blue boxes, clicking and unclicking and unclicking, I can change the size. I can also move this viewport window, move it anywhere on the sheet. If I turn my ortho off, it gives me a little more freedom of movement. Remember to save. And I think this will be it for today. Next week we're going to continue drawing this dresser. And take a moment to read the handout. And I think I'm going to require at least 4 viewports within your drawing. So you might have 2 viewports on this sheet and 2 viewports on this one. You can have any combination, but I would like to see at least 4 viewports. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.